Joel Linder had passed away. We've been friends for approximately 3 years, writing back and forth, helping each other with YouTube videos. And seeing as Joe is only 30 years of age, and to see that the guy was in such great shape, he was a gifted athlete his entire life, and he was always striving to be shredded 365 days a year. This guy's physique was remarkable, incredible. He had the dream of becoming an IFBB pro. Now, because he's only 30 and he suddenly died, it was an aneurysm. And so what that is a weakening of a blood vessel. And so imagine that you have a balloon and there's one spot in the balloon. That is the most likely spot where something could burst. Now, remember, with higher blood pressure, the risk is a lot greater. It can occur throughout the body. It could be somewhere in the heart. It could be in the brain. And so depending on where this occurred and how important that blood vessel is to your survival, she states that 3 days before this happened, he had a pain in his neck. There's going to be a lot of speculation that it had to have something to do with anabolic steroids or performance-enhancing drugs. Joel Linder was very open, honest, and transparent and told us everything that he was doing. In his younger days, he did admit that he had been abusing performance-enhancing drugs, mainly steroids, and that this was not healthy for both his body and his mind. In particular, he was very much against the use of tren. He did not think this was a drug that anyone should ever use. Joel did not promote the use of steroids, and in fact, he wanted to help people to understand that you shouldn't be doing these things. Because he had abused it in his past, he had to go on HRT. And so because he had such an incredible physique, many people assumed he's not really just on HRT. There's no way he could have a physique like that. Because this guy's genetics were that good, that even with lower doses, he could have a physique like that. More recently, he ended up doing 2 competitions in men's physique trying to earn a pro card. I did, in fact, help to coach him for this. And so I know exactly what he was taking for these competitions. And many of you are thinking, oh, he probably upped the doses so high and that's what caused him to get a heart attack. But I can assure you, he was taking less than what most beginners would take on their very first cycles. Is that Joel Linder struggled to stay that lean all the time. He was constantly battling hunger and was drinking a ton of coffee. I believe he said at one point he was drinking 4 liters a day. And if the coffee had a lot of caffeine, which is a stimulant, this can dramatically reduce your appetite. Now, we all know that the combination of anabolic steroid use and vigorous weightlifting can lead to left ventricular hypertrophy. But we also know that if you take a lot of stimulants, this can place a greater demand on the heart. Even though caffeine is 100% legal, it's still a drug. This combination of factors could have led to potential arrhythmias in the heart. And so the chances of something going wrong, even if it's small, are greatly enhanced. And so if you're thinking, oh, I can take steroids, I'll just use low doses, it won't happen to me. Well, look at Joel Linder, 30 years of age. Guy was a phenomenal athlete. He was doing cardio, eating healthy. The guy was super fit. And yet it happened to him, almost bursting through him. And perhaps, and remember, because his body demanded more blood, that he had to increase the circulation. Remember, when you take steroids, it can affect your hematocrit. You can get more red blood cells, and the volume of blood underneath, it can go up. When you have more blood, in particular more red blood cells, the blood gets thicker. You're more likely to get a heart attack and or a stroke. Perhaps he's most famous for this. His alien DNA, the fact that he could make his chest muscles dance, all the striations quivering back and forth just by stretching out his chest. I'm not a doctor. Could it not be from an electrolyte imbalance? And so perhaps that's a sign that something was going on in his body, that perhaps the electrolytes, they weren't all in balance. I don't think it's a normal occurrence for your body to do this on any given day throughout your life. Just because you're getting regular blood work, it doesn't prove that there's nothing going on inside your body. But what we do know is 30 is far too young to be taken away from us.